So oftentimes, especially for people with insomnia, they want to fall asleep super quickly, like within 2 minutes, within 1 minute. The moment their head hits the pillow, they want to be lights out for the next 8 hours. And in this video, I'm going to talk about why falling asleep super quickly isn't actually a good thing and what is sort of a more normative range for what good sleepers should aim for in terms of how often or on average, how quickly they fall asleep. And hi, if you don't know me, my name is Dr. Parky Lau. I'm a clinical psychologist and behavioral sleep medicine specialist, which means I provide evidence-based, non-pharmacological, so no medication, treatments for chronic insomnia as well as other sleep disorders. And I'm also the author of this book called The Insomnia Paradox, which talks about these evidence-based strategies in book form that you can read if you're interested. So when someone's been struggling with insomnia for such a long time, it makes perfect sense that they want to fall asleep very quickly. And oftentimes I found that people with insomnia, they're often married or they're partnered with somebody who falls asleep super quickly. So it almost creates this disparity between how fast they're sleeping versus how fast you're sleeping. And it almost like creates this sense of like desire, like I want to be able to do the same and have myself kind of knock out the moment my head hits the pillow. But there's actually quite a few good reasons why it's not actually a great idea or a great ability to be able to fall asleep super quickly, like within, a minute or two. Number one is that people who fall asleep super quickly, that might be an indicator of sleep deprivation. So somebody is chronically disturbed in their sleep and that they're not getting enough sleep. So maybe their body needs 7 or 8 hours, but they're only getting 6 or 6.5 every day. So they're constantly in this sort of sleep debt that allows them to fall asleep very quickly, but they're not getting the sort of quantity slash quality when it comes to the actual sleep. And that's going to lead to a lot of different problems like, increased risk of car accidents, poor performance, medical issues like cardiovascular issues, all of those things can be sort of a downstream impact of not getting enough sleep. So being able to fall asleep quickly is first of all an indicator that maybe you're not getting all the sleep that you need, which is a symptom of excessive sleepiness. And number two, maybe a sign that you need to increase how much time you're spending in bed to be able to actually catch up on your body's sleep needs. And another reason why falling asleep super quickly isn't always the best thing is that it could be a sign of an underlying sleep condition like obstructive sleep apnea. So in the context of sleep apnea, what happens is that the brain almost kind of forgets to help us breathe in the middle of the night. So we kind of wake ourselves up because we're not breathing. And then as a result, all of a sudden we're having these mini awakenings that, or apneic events that happen throughout the night. So we're almost like sleeping, waking up, sleeping, waking up. And as you can imagine, our sleep is going to be very low quality and unrefreshing, and we're not getting the deep sleep that we need. So people with sleep apnea are almost in this chronic state of sleep deprivation because of all these awakenings that happen at night. So if you know anybody who feels chronically sleepy during the day, they're falling asleep super quickly at night, and they're actually snoring, for example, those could be indicators that a person is struggling with sleep apnea, and as a result, they would probably benefit from a sleep study to actually diagnose it and provide the right treatment. Third reason why falling asleep really quickly or trying to fall asleep really quickly isn't necessarily a good thing is that sleep is fundamentally an effortless process. So if we're trying to think and we're thinking, oh gosh, like I need to fall asleep within 5 minutes, and you don't, you can imagine that it almost creates this pressure to need to sleep, which increases our arousal levels and makes it harder for us to sleep. So this sort of expectation that I should be falling asleep within 5 minutes or 10 minutes every night, that creates a sense of pressure, which paradoxically perpetuates insomnia and makes it even harder to fall asleep. So as a behavioral sleep medicine specialist, when I'm working with patients to cultivate goals, usually I prefer a bit more of a flexible framework in terms of how long it takes a person to fall asleep. And usually the normative reference range is somewhere between 10 to 30 minutes on average. And I like the word average because everybody has a bad night from time to time. And it's not necessarily a sign that you're struggling with some sort of insomnia problem. It's just that sometimes because of stress or something else, we might have a sort of a poor night. But on average, you're falling asleep between 10 to 30 minutes, suggesting that your body's getting the sleep it needs and you're not excessively sleeping in the context of like actually struggling with not getting enough sleep. So hopefully this video helps to kind of reduce at least some of the pressure that you're experiencing when it comes to needing to fall asleep within a specific time frame, such that most people will have a poor night from time to time. And on average, anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes is a pretty good benchmark for what you're kind of wanting to get. And of course, if you are taking a longer time than that to fall asleep and you're struggling with an insomnia problem, hopefully some of these other videos on the channel or my book could be useful guides for you to continue supporting yourself towards your journey of better sleep health. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.